Has been a spiritualist for around 35 years and a professional medium for over 30 years. The personal growth workshops that she teaches give us a playful and accepting way of looking at life and its challenges, and makes it more comfortable for students to explore and make shifts that bring them peace and comfort. Eileen's greatest joy these days comes from being with her 4 granddaughters. Please welcome Eileen to the podium. So I can put this up here, or you can hold it.
Can you put it up there?
Sure. Yeah.
I'm not tall, in case you haven't noticed. Thank you, Cynthia.
You good?
Is it Vicky in the video? Lady? Patty. First, I want to thank you, Patty, for those beautiful videos that you found. They're just wonderful. Good morning. Good morning. I want to thank you all for the gift of your presence here today. I'm excited to be here today and share the message of peace and hope that Spirit has inspired me to bring to each of you. You may have noticed from the songs that we've been singing. Before I speak about peace and hope, I want to take some time to address what's going on in our world right now, and especially in our country, because these events are causing so many people to feel anger, fear, frustration, anxiety. Whether you support our current administration or not, you're probably experiencing some degree of these feelings. I'm going to use the phrase political anxiety, which is a relatively new term used to describe feelings of uncertainty, instability, and distress over world events, government decisions, and societal shifts. It was first used in 2005 to describe a campaign messaging which was meant to fan strong feelings of fear, worry, urgency among voters. I mean, you just turn on the news and you can, I noticed even here in Florida, when we're getting ready to have a hurricane, you know, we're all huddled down and scared, but the news reporters are like, yes! You know, they're so excited because it's news and it's money. By 2016, it had shifted to describe a general feeling of distress related to political events. Since then, political anxiety has been steadily increasing. Some signs of political anxiety are constantly worrying about political events or potential outcomes, feeling hopeless, helpless, or powerless to change what's going on, emotional reactivity, anger, irritability, fear when discussing politics, difficulty sleeping due to ruminating about political situations. I don't know about all of you, but I think I've experienced every single one of these, probably on a daily basis. So some of the other things that you might be doing is avoiding the news, and some of you may be compulsively checking the news. There may be a sense of dread or panic when thinking or talking about politics. Strained relationships due to disagreements. In fact, the discord over the 2016 election was so great that 10% of Americans said they ended a relationship over political differences. That's a big number. Disagreements over politics can feel like a personal affront. We may feel our opinions are being dismissed or criticized or even attacked by others. At the root of all this feeling is a lack of control over the decisions and events that impact our lives on a daily basis. Immigration, wars, conflicts, tariffs, the economy, layoffs, mass shootings, it's enough to make anyone want to stay in bed. It can also be a catalyst for some profound internal dialogue, such as, why am I here? What happens when we die? Does life have any meaning? The answers that we assign to these questions often form the very values that we live our lives by. And having those values threatened or challenged can be very stressful. You may not be able to control what's going on around you, but you can control how you choose to respond to it. Managing political anxiety begins with protecting your mental health, staying grounded in your values, and finding healthy ways to make a difference. So, now that I have thoroughly depressed each of you, let's talk about some of those healthy ways to cope. Coping with political anxiety is all about feeling in control despite the chaos all around us. So grounding techniques like deep breathing, which Cynthia reminded us of in the meditation, can help. Deep breathing activates our parasympathetic nervous system, and I love this phrase. It's also known as the rest and digest system. I love that phrase, rest and digest. Doing this, it regulates our fight or flight response, which is the sympathetic nervous system. So if you're caught up in a place where you're feeling anxiety, it literally changes how your body is reacting, how your brain is reacting. So just try that. Other coping strategies include grounding yourself to the present. In addition to deep breathing, you can do meditation, mindfulness. Anything you can do to stay calm in the moment will help your body and mental health. Focus on what you can control. Actively shift from thinking, nothing I do will change anything, to my actions, no matter how small, are part of creating the change I want to see. Now, on that, one of the little things that every single person in this room can do in this beautiful temple is smile. I was going through the lane of Publix one day, the checkout lane, and my youngest daughter was with me, and the lady checking us out said, "Is this your mom?" And my daughter said, "Yeah." Why? She was a teenager. She goes, "Yeah." She looked at her and she said, "You are so lucky." She said, "When your mom passes through my lane, I know I'm going to get a smile and kindness." She says, and sometimes that can go a really long way. So we have the power to smile. We have the power to look someone in the eye. And this is the really fun part. Not just for the people who smile back. For those people who don't smile back, who look like they've just lost their best friend because maybe they have. We never know what someone else is going through. So a kind smile can change a lot. And set boundaries with media. Limit doom scrolling. Make a point of seeking out positive stories where people are making a difference. Seek out diverse perspectives. Several of my friends have said the same thing, and I do this. And these days, I specifically watch movies that I know I'm going to feel good. I watched A League of Their Own. I watch You Got Mail. I watch movies that make me feel uplifted. Help others. Volunteering to support people and causes you believe in is a great way to show that what you do has an impact on the world. Take a stand. Get involved. Support a campaign you believe in. Connect with your legislative representatives. Practice your constitutional right to peacefully protest. Practice active listening. Remember, everyone has a right to their opinion. Instead of immediately reacting, try to deeply listen to a person and reflect what they say back. Very interesting, about probably a year ago, someone close in my circle of my family said to me, what if the earth really is flat? My first reaction was to say, are you stupid? I mean, that was where my brain went to. And I took a deep breath and I said, okay, so he is willing to hold the perspective that everything isn't as it seems. And I said to him, I want to really acknowledge you for being willing to explore different thoughts. And I told him, you're not right. And we laughed. But I really meant it. I'm so set in some of my thoughts and beliefs and patterns that I don't ever take the time to even look outside of that line. So, avoid situations or social platforms where you know you're going to get riled up. How many of us do that? We just know we're going to get riled up. And that reminds me, I saw a show recently. Our society is addicted to chaos. It's an addiction now. My father, when I was 10 years old, took our entire family to learn transcendental meditation, and we did the whole process, and then we had the ritual where a guru came from India. I was young, so all I remember is flower petals. I thought those were kind of neat. So my dad went from being a rageaholic to transcendental meditation. Well, he was at work one day. He owned a restaurant, and his cook, had dropped a whole stack of plates on the ground, and they crashed. And his name was Leroy, and he looked at my dad, and he said, "Neil, you didn't scream and yell at me and call me curse names." My dad goes, "Yeah, it's that meditation. I got to quit that." And he did. He did. He had become so comfortable with chaos. And he said, "Eileen, I thrive on that. I feel like that's life for me." So for him, it worked. And I looked at him and I said, "Dad," I said, "I can't afford to hold on to chaos and anger and stress and anxiety. I can't afford it. My body is at a place where that's no longer comfortable. It's familiar. It's still familiar growing up in a childhood like I did, but it's not comfortable." So while it's important to be aware of what's going, I've got to say this. Don't forget, social media and news platforms are fighting to keep your attention focused on them as part of their business model. I like to say, if you're not scrolling, they're not rolling in dough, right? I mean, it's money, so they're going to do whatever they can to keep us on there. The great news, while it's important to be aware of what's going on in our country and in the world, you need to take care of yourself. You need to know your limits. Some people can watch it all day. Some people can scroll all day. Some people can get on there and be fine. I can't. It affects the way I feel. It affects the way I interact with my grandchildren. It affects everything in me. So I choose to go right past most of that. The great news is you can regain control. However, it has to be a conscious decision that you make, and you may have to recommit to that decision over and over and over again. It is simple. It's very simple. Peace is simple, but it's very fragile. But I think it's worth the effort because healthy coping strategies can reduce anxiety, help us feel more in control, and even empower us to make a difference. On the subject of making a difference, how about them monks, right? How about them? I imagine everyone today has heard about the 2,300-mile walk for peace the Buddhist monks took from Texas to Washington. Some of the things that this walk meant and some of the key characteristics were embodying peace. The monks were not protesting. They weren't campaigning. They didn't want your money. They didn't want anything. They didn't even really want your attention. They didn't expect it. They were walking the talk of compassion to show that peace begins within each of us. I especially like one of their mantras. I think it's the lead monk said, every day when he wakes up, he says, and they say, today is going to be our peaceful day. Imagine if we did that instead of, oh no, what day is it? What time is it? Am I late? What do I have to do? What's on my list? Where do I have to be? Today is going to be our peaceful day. And they recite it every morning. So if you, like me, are tired of hating and tired of being scared and truly want to see love and acceptance prevail, then we all have to start walking that talk. I want to share a true story with you. Now, this story has been going around for years. Some of the details may be different. Most of you will have heard it in some way, but I'm going to share it because it really relates to today. During the 1930s, a young boy in India became obsessed with eating sugar. He just couldn't stop. He was addicted. His mother was quite upset with this, and she tried many ways to stop him, but nothing worked. She decided to take her son to go and see his idol, Mahatma Gandhi, in hope that her son would listen to him. They walked for miles under the scorching sun to reach Gandhi's ashram. There, she shared with Gandhi her situation. "Gandhi, my son consumes far too much sugar. Will you please tell him that it's bad for his health?" After listening to the woman patiently, Gandhi thought for a while and refused to give the boy advice. He told them, "Return in 2 weeks." 2 weeks later, the mother left a little perplexed and wondered why Gandhi had not asked the boy to stop eating sugar straight away. Well, 2 weeks later, they returned to visit Gandhi. This time, Gandhi looked at the boy and said, "Boy, stop eating sugar. It's bad for your health." The boy nodded towards Gandhi and said, "I will do my best." The boy's mother was curious as to why Gandhi needed 2 weeks to tell her son that. Gandhi smiled and said, 2 weeks ago, I was addicted to sugar, and I needed to cut back myself before I could give that advice to your son. So, if you, like me, think that what the world needs now is love, sweet love, then it's up to each of us to be that essence before we expect it from others. And from that peaceful place, each of us can be a lighthouse in the universe, guiding other souls towards a safe, loving spot to land. I believe our world, our country, will rise from this chaos and be even better than before. And I'd like to share a very brief poem that I wrote about that very thing. It's called A New World. The temperature is rising. There is chaos in the air. It feels like life is out of control. How much more can we bear? Left, right, blue, red, the battle lines are drawn. But if you take a higher view, you'll see what's going on. Mankind has disconnected from each other and from the earth. Now power, greed, and status are the measures of our worth. We can't continue on this path. The price is just too high. It's time for us to look within and remember we were born to fly. Let's soar above the hate and hurt, planting seeds along the way of joy and hope and love and light, a dawning of a brand new day. I wish each of you love and support on your journey, and may you always remember to be gentle, kind, and accepting of your humanness and of humanity as a whole. Thank you.